Shalom, I'm Lars Enarsson with the Watchman International, coming to you with this report on the situation in Israel on Friday, August 29. In this report, I will not give you so much news from Israel, as I will share with you what I believe that God is saying to us right now about the situation in Israel. We know that a majority of the public in Israel believes that Israel failed in this operation in Gaza by not defeating Hamas. The Prime Minister, however, he says that the ceasefire agreement that was made now with Hamas was a great achievement for Israel. Hamas did not get any of their demands met, and this was a victory for Israel. What is God saying? Who is right? Well, we believe that God is saying to us that because Israel decided to give Hamas a ceasefire, the nations of the world will now begin to pressure Israel and demand from them that they will grant Hamas the rest of their demands. This might sound strange, but the pressure on Israel will in fact increase after this conflict for giving in to the demands of Hamas in Gaza. And so this is a very dangerous situation, friends. And we believe that because of this failure of the government in Israel in the conflict to defeat Hamas, we must now, as believers in Yeshua, Jesus, and as Christians, stand in the gap to pray for Israel as never before. It is very interesting when we see what happened this summer, how it corresponds in detail to the biblical calendar. It was exactly on the fast in the fourth month, described in the book of Zechariah, when Israel, or the government of Israel, the first time agreed to an Egyptian suggestion for a ceasefire agreement. Now, Hamas said no, and because of that, Israel decided to launch the ground operation into Gaza. And we need to thank God that Hamas said no, because that was how the tunnels were discovered, and much of that threat was eliminated against Israel. However, it is significant that Israel agreed to a ceasefire prematurely on the fast in the fourth month. We know the fast is in memory of the golden calf, and as well as when the walls around Jerusalem were breached when the Romans came to destroy the temple, the second temple. And this also begins the difficult time in Israel for 3 weeks, leading up to the fast in the fifth month, Tisha B'Av, the most serious day for the Jewish people on the biblical calendar. That day is in memory of the report from the 10 spies telling the people, we cannot defeat the enemy, we must not go in and take the land. It was exactly on that day, friends, that Prime Minister Netanyahu and the government of Israel decided to accept the second ceasefire proposal from Egypt rather than finishing the operation in Gaza. And we believe that was a very serious mistake. And finally, it was on the first day of the sixth month, the month of Elul, the month of repentance leading up to the great feast days in the seventh month. It was exactly on that day that a final ceasefire agreement was made with Hamas. That is the day when the shofar begins to sound in every synagogue around the world to wake God's people up and prepare themselves to meet with God on the great feast that are prophesying about the coming of Messiah and the great judgment day. So this latest final agreement that was made for a ceasefire with Hamas took place exactly on the very same day that the shofar begins to sound to wake us up. And what we believe God is saying to us, because Israel did not fulfill God's will this time in Gaza, we must now stand in the gap and begin to pray as never before for Israel. That is why we're telling you, go to our website, thewatchman.org, subscribe to the prayer alerts in the Elijah Prayer Army, and begin to stand with us in prayer, also by forming a prayer cell. And you can report this to us on the internet, and we can begin to fast and pray by standing in the gap right now as watchmen on the walls of Jerusalem. This is so important, and what we believe God is saying. We need to pray finally, before I finish this update, that God will now begin to raise up a new leader in Israel that will not compromise on the land of Israel, that will declare boldly, the land of Israel belongs to the people of Israel. And that is something we have felt for over a year, that it is time for a new leader to arise in Israel. It is a new season. We thank God for how he has used and still use Prime Minister Netanyahu, and we must continue to pray for him. However, it is time for a leader that will not accept to a Palestinian state to come forth in Israel. I'm Lars Enarsson with the Watchman International. Go to our website, thewatchman.org, subscribe to our prayer alerts in the Elijah Prayer Army. God bless you, and Shabbat Shalom.